Well guys, I'm not sure if we'll do anything with this video, but we are out today freshening up Hunter's feed sites, right?
Yep.
So, what have you been doing? I've been out in surgery.
So, this is the third time running feed out. We're up on the lease up here, and there's no food on this property whatsoever. And big reason for doing it is we want to find sheds off some of these deer, and I want to get my shed dog.
He's carrying a stick.
Huge shed guy, he is. So I want to get him on a lot of real sheds this year, and just want to hopefully maybe help the health of the deer. So didn't go with just straight corn. I've been getting alfalfa from a dealer I found on, I keep calling him my hay dealer. He's just a farmer on Facebook Marketplace with Jesse's Facebook. And got third and fourth cutting alfalfa. I get the small square bales, and it's nice because you can break them up and spread them out in a nice long line here. It doesn't create as much social stress to the deer having to fight each other for food in a small pile.
We've been able to monitor what's going on with the Moultrie Delta. I'll have a link in the description for the video review I did on it, but we've been able to track to see which deer have been hitting it. And N2, the deer that I was trying really hard this year to get on and kill, he's been pretty active here. And you can tell all these trails how busy and active it's been.
It's tore up.
Yeah, it's really tore up.
I'll get out the hay, show you my strategy. So what we have here is a small square bale, pure alfalfa. It's either third or fourth cutting is what the farmer said. And it's really high quality stuff. As you can see, it's nice and green, really nutritious. And we went with pure alfalfa. You can find it at anywhere in Facebook Marketplace, probably. That's where I found it. Maybe Craigslist, shop around for a good deal. This runs me $7 a bale from my dealer. And anyway, it's alfalfa. It's good for them. So you can get corn out here, but corn really doesn't benefit them that much. So this is nice and nutritious. And what I'm going to do is spread it out in a nice long line here so they're not getting so much social stress, having to fight each other. And as you can see, one bale, probably 60, 70 pounds, square bale, maybe 50, spreads out, and you get an eighth of an acre food plot out of it. No, not really. But, you know, I mean, you think about how much hay of alfalfa went into making one square bale, and that's what you're putting out every time. So,
and what's nice about the green is it keeps them warm, like this time of year.
Yeah, and N2 was bedding in it. We had some sweet pictures. Actually, a lot of deer are bedding in it right here. And Toby, my buddy out in western Iowa, has them bedding in it all the time.
Right.
And he actually left it more in the bale so that they wouldn't lay on it as much. But up here, I kind of wanted them to have a little bit of thermal cover because it's up on this ridge top in the cold, and it's been crazy cold this year. But he left it in the bale. I like to spread it out, get them a little bit. I think they take to it a little bit better in my limited experience. And then the reason it's nice to spread it out is because then you can spread corn, and the corn gets down in it, and they have to eat the alfalfa to get to the corn, is my theory. And they end up consuming more of it. Whereas if you just gave them alfalfa, they'd still eat it because they like it, but it's not quite as attractive to them as corn or grains are. So anyway, it just comes out nice big flakes. You spread it out, nice green shit.
Quite the technique you got there.
Yeah, I've done this a time or two. If you're lucky, you make an absolute mess of yourself and you make a mess of your new truck.
This is the first time I've been able to come with Hunter and see him do this, but you can't really get a grasp of how much that one bale covered until you're here. It's at least 15 yards, and it's spread out, nice green, perfect. I mean, green in the middle of that, they're flocking to it for sure. And now,
so I don't recommend this. Actually, I do. But you should probably feed deer feed. But all stock feed is a lot cheaper. And it's better than feeding them straight horse feed, straight cattle feed, goat feed. They got different stomachs for that. So when you get an all stock feed, it's a little bit more balanced. And the problem with like horse feed and stuff like that, it's really high in starches, just like corn is, I'm pretty sure. But an all stock feed has a lot more fiber in it. And so what they're used to right now in the dead of winter is a high in fiber diet. Woody browse, junk browse type food. They'd probably be living here whether we're feeding them or not. I mean, sometimes they move and find good food if they have a food plot or whatever, but no one in this neighborhood really does food. So sometimes when you run into that scenario, you can actually do more harm than good feeding your deer corn or feeding your deer a new food source, even if it's a high quality food source. Like, I think alfalfa is typically pretty safe, but if you feed them alfalfa and they've never eaten alfalfa in 6 months or ever in their life, if you're in the UP of Michigan or whatever, they're not going to be able to digest that. Their stomachs aren't set up for it, and so they end up filling themselves up, and they're really cold, they burn a lot of energy, and they don't actually benefit from it at all, and it actually gets acidic, and I don't know, something to do with that. I think in the Midwest, you can feed deer grain. I really think it's probably overhyped, the whole, if you feed deer corn, you're gonna kill them, because these deer have been eating corn their whole lives. Their stomachs are set up for it. There's still waste grain in some of these ag fields around here. We're in a high ag area up here. Now, if we were in a cattle lease, for example, there's not much ag down there. I don't think I would go in and put a bunch of corn in or a bunch of high energy food like this in, because it could do more harm than good. And the other thing is, then you're bringing food into a landscape where if you stop it, the landscape can't support it, and your deer start to actually starve. So you can do more harm than good. But in this scenario, I eased them into it a little bit. The first time I didn't put out nearly as much grain, and now they've taken to it and their stomachs have gotten a chance to adjust a little bit. And the other thing is, I'm going to stay consistent with this throughout the harsh winter months here, and then I'm going to try to taper off of it as well. So no real hard changes in diet, and like I said, be better off with deer food, but this is like the same price as corn, and it's a lot more nutritious, and they really liked it last time. That's what I fed them last time. So trying it out, I don't think it's gonna hurt them. I think it'll help them. It's corn and oats. You can see those oats in there.
yeah.
It's a lot of the grains that they eat anyway. So just because it looks different, it's all stock feed. I think this is gonna be.
Well, deer are just
50.
like cows. They have like 4 stomachs or whatever.
Yeah, and their digestion is different than cows. But wild deer are smart enough to know not to just come here and fill up on something that's going to kill them. I really think people don't give deer credit enough. They're going to continue to eat the woody browse that they're already eating.
Well, guys, unfortunately, I'm going to have to wrap up the video by voiceover here. It was cold out, and I hadn't been filming with this camera in a while, so I accidentally filmed the rest of the video in slow motion, so we don't have any audio. But I wanted to keep the content out here just because I know there's people out there who are running out of food on their property, and I think this might be able to help give somebody an idea to help their property today. So as you can see here, Hunter was finishing off by spreading some corn to top dress it all off. This just adds a little bit more attractant quality to this, and it really just mixes in there with the all stock feed and the alfalfa, and it kind of gives them all a big balanced diet here. And you know, in total for one bale and a bag of all stock feed and then a bag of corn, we're looking at right around like $28 to do this. And Hunter usually does this, I'd say roughly once every 10 days, once every 2 weeks, and keeps the deer, with good food quality. And a main reason why we run that trail camera is to be able to see, how much they have eaten and when we need to go in and refreshing it. But after this site here, we ended up working on 2 other sites, getting it all spread out. And keeping multiple food sites allows there to be more deer that live on the property and have adequate food sources. They're not all just congregated in one spot. It's kind of spread out a little bit. And so that's why we run multiple food sites. And then on the last food site, you'll see we ended up finding a shed in the middle of the alfalfa, which is good to get Ollie in and pick up his first real shed out in the field. So as you guys can see, this is what we're doing to kind of keep our deer herds healthy on properties that we don't have any, natural food sources, such as, standing beans, or, there's not a lot of good food sources on this property, I should say. So that's what we're doing. If you guys want to implement this, definitely check it out. And if you want to supplement without the all stock feed, definitely just utilize regular deer food, and you should be fine. So with that, we're going to wrap up the video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully everybody's staying warm, and we'll see everybody in the next one.